Hi, my name is Roberto Torres and I welcome you all to Practical ChatGPT Solutions. Today what we're going to talk about is a methodology I created to have a robust and successful prompt to use with ChatGPT. And for that, let's go to the slides. Well, first of all, we're going to see several topics today. Prompt structure, limitations, tokens, and iterations. So let's go. Here in prompt structure, we have two ways to ask ChatGPT. The first one is a single question, and the second one is a structured crafter prompt. We're going to go deep within each one to see what are the differences. As you can see in this one, in the single question, I asked, how can I improve productivity at work? What it did, ChatGPT, was to give me an answer. Actually, if you could see, it should be a good answer, but it is not. Okay? What it does is it gives you a brief description, at least 10 different things about tips regarding enhancing my productivity, and does a wrap up. Now, if we go to that semi-structured crafted prompt, the difference between this one and the previous one, it is that in the prompt, we provide more information about how to increase productivity. So in this case, I asked, as a manager at a software development company, I'm looking for effective strategies and tools to improve my team's productivity. And from there, ChatGPT, what it does, it provides a more deep answer. If I go to the previous slide, we could see that my question or my prompt, it is easy. And the answer that ChatGPT provides, it is also maybe not easy, but it is not as deep as this semi-structured crafted prompt. Okay. With this in mind, the methodology that I created is based upon all the information that I consumed regarding everything that I learned from ChatGPT. And I met the course that I took, all the videos that I watched, all the information that I read, everything that I learned, and then I applied and I proved. Okay? And from that, we're going to go step by step from everything that is related to what is required for you to have a good prompt. One thing that it is important, my methodology, it is not the only one that has to be in the world. This methodology is the one that has worked for me, okay? And it will work for you. In the end, what you could do with this is that you could twitch here, you could twitch over there, in order to get the best prompt for you. For this, we'll start. This is the first instruction you must do when asking something to ChatGPT. And it is, you have to define the expert. Clearly state the expertise required from ChatGPT. I can tell you this, I'm an expert as a CTO, I'm an expert as a head of engineering, I'm an expert as a head of operations. I'm not an expert as an accountant, I'm not an expert maybe as a student of biology, as a bachelor of biology. I'm expert in certain things. And since I'm not an expert, what I do usually is to ask ChatGPT to become the expert that I require so I can provide more information, and with that ChatGPT will provide the answers that I'm looking for. So in these examples I want you to act as an accountant specialized in taxes. I want you to act as a student of Bachelor of Computer Science, and the one that we're going to use is I want you to act as an expert Twitter copywriter. And from that, we're going to move on. And the second instruction is you must provide context. Okay, offer essential background information, and for that we have three choices that we could use. The first one is reuse a previous ChatGPT prompt answer, and as you saw in the previous slide, I told ChatGPT to become an expert Twitter copywriter, and from that I provide a context. In this case, it is, tell me what is needed to create a successful tweet about Amazon. Okay, and it provides some information. So when I mention reuse a previous ChatGPT prompt answer, what I'm saying is maybe this answer was given to me by ChatGPT in another question, in another prompt. So what I could do is maybe the point number 5, incorporate a call to action. Okay, maybe with this, what I could do is copy this number 5 and reuse it for another ChatGPT. So it could be either the prompt, the question that I gave ChatGPT, or the answer, as I mentioned, the number 5. So in this case, ChatGPT provides me a successful tweet about Amazon. It says, discover the future of online shipping with hashtag Amazon new AR feature. And from there, it does. It has a wrap up in which it says what is given us in this tweet. Okay. Point number 2. What we could do is copy paste an external text. Okay. So I went to Twitter. I searched for a tweet regarding Amazon, and what I found was that this tweet was the one with the highest views. As you can see, it is almost 900,000 views, and this tweet says things that didn't exist 22 years ago. Back in 2001, it didn't exist an iPhone, Facebook, YouTube, Android, Bitcoin, Tesla, and it goes and it says Amazon Prime. So it is something related to Amazon. I put on over here the URL, and we'll put it on the description so you could see about this. Okay, so with this tweet, what we could do is create a tweet about Amazon using this text. So what I could do is copy everything, things that didn't exist 22 years ago, and copy all of this and put it on directly in our prompt. We could do this. We could grab information from an external site, external text, and paste it directly into ChatGPT. Okay, this is the third option that we could use when we provide context. Okay, and it says iterate within the current prompt. As you can see on your left in your screen, we have the previous answer that we had. Okay, tell me what is needed to create a successful tweet about Amazon. Okay, but with this, we could iterate within the current prompt. Okay, and if you could see at your left, what I did was iterate from the previous one, which is in the left. So tell me what is needed to create a successful tweet about Amazon in which Gen X would interact with. I'm a Gen X. I was born in 1970. And it says here that Generation X or Gen X audience are the people who was born between 1965 and 1980. Okay, so if you can see a difference between this tweet from the left to the one on the right, you can see that there is a difference, and I will point out directly from the tweet. In this one, in the first example, it says discover the future of online shopping with Amazon new AR feature. But in the second one, in the one that it is directed to Gen X, it says blast from the past, rediscover the best of the 80s and 90s with the Amazon exclusive collection of vinyl records, classic movies, and retro toys. So what it does, ChatGPT, it says, okay, since we're aiming this tweet for this Gen X audience, we're going to attract, to be as appealing as possible for the people who are within this audience. Okay, and one thing you could see are the emojis. The emojis changes as well as the hashtags. So we have provided context. What else it is needed? Well, we require to target the audience. In the tweet, in the previous tweet, I mentioned Gen X. Well, that is an audience, okay? But we could have a broader audience. As I mentioned, specify the demographic, behavior, or interests of the intended readers. So what I took was from this tweet, on your left side, and add more target audience. So it says, tell me what is needed to create a successful tweet about Amazon in which Gen X would interact with. And then I created this. All those who will interact, besides the already stated generation, must be non-tech savvy. Could be moms of teenage children and interested in selling stuff at Amazon. So what are we going to analyze over here? Okay, we have an interest, okay, which is that someone wants to sell stuff at Amazon. Okay, a demographic audience could be moms of teenage children. Okay, that takes away myself. Okay, I'm not a mom, I'm a dad. So it will say, okay, we're going to direct this from people who was born in 1965 to 1980, and it is a mom and could be mom of teenage children. Okay, and the other stuff is also the behavior. The behavior is that these people is non-tech savvy. Okay, which could have a lot of gaps regarding technology. So if we go deep into the tweet, we could say, here is an example of a tweet tailored to this specific audience. Turn clutter into cash with Amazon easy-to-use seller platform. Perfect for busy Gen X moms looking to earn extra money. Get started with this beginner's guide, especially designed for non-tech savvy users. And there is a link and some hashtags. So what did ChatGPT was to create the tweet based on what we have previously tell them, okay, to do. First, it is the expert. Second one, it is to provide a context. And third one is to have this target audience. So if you could see, there are three different emojis. One of them is money. And, it could be appealing for a mom of a teenage children, which, as I mentioned before, was born as a Gen X. Okay. Now, the following, it is the tone. The tone is to indicate the desired tone, such as serious, casual, funny. What is going on? Okay, so at your left, you can see the previous the previous prompt and the answer from ChatGPT. And in your right, you could see, and at the end of my prompt, to say that tweet must be in a humorous yet optimistic tone. Okay, so I'm saying to ChatGPT, I require to do this. And you do have the tone as you require it to be. It could be serious, yet formal. It could be sad if it's something that you're required to do. It could be pessimistic. It could be positive. There is a lot of different tones that you could use, even though you could have it as casual or funny. So it is up to you to decide which tone you're going to use in your prompt. So if I go directly to the tweet, Okay, it will say, juggling Gen X mom life and dream of a side hustle? Amazon seller to the rescue. Even if you're not a tech wizard, Amazon makes selling easier than convincing your teen to clean their room. Start today, a link, and then hashtags. And actually, it is funny because as a dad, I know that convincing my son to clean his room, it was a really challenging task to do. Okay, so it combines a humorous yet optimistic tone, as we have mentioned. Okay, so as you could see, we could add more stuff directly into the structure rather than stuff instructions. So ChatGPT could work with it and create what we require. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about is the optional instructions of this prompt structure. Okay. I think that in my methodology, that the previous one that we spoke about are important to be. These ones are not, but it is up to you if you require it to be. Okay, and we're going to talk about style. Is to request a specific writing style or mimic a certain person or character. So when I thought about a tweet of Amazon aimed to a mom of teenagers, but I thought, well, that these moms could have a singer in which they like the most. So I thought of Justin Bieber. So the last instruction that I gave based on style was the tweet could be written in the style of Justin Bieber. So ChatGPT created, and you can see from the left to the right, and what has changed. So in the instructions, in the answer, ChatGPT said, okay, I'm emulating Justin Bieber style. Adopt a casual and friendly tone using emojis and incorporate popular slang or abbreviation to make the tweet feel more like it was written by Justin Bieber. Okay, and with that you could see the tweet. Here is an example of a humorous yet optimistic tweet tailored to this specific audience in the style of Justin Bieber. So one thing about, there are many emojis. Hey, hashtag Gen X moms, no need to be tech savvy to be a boss on Amazon seller. Turn that clutter into cash. It's like magic, but real. Start today, a link, and hashtags. And what it does is, in this wrap up, it provides this information. So with that, you could have either Justin Bieber, or you could have Kanye, or you could have Metallica if you require. In the end, you could ask ChatGPT to do that. And I'm just saying in the music genre, but you could say Jules Verne, or you could say Stephen King. I don't know. You could say from a fictional character, or you could say from someone who lived, who doesn't run up, or the ones who are living now. As we continue, we could have as an optional an analogy, using an analogy to guide the content's format. So in this case, what I did was to add the tweet to have this analogy. Life is a box of chocolates to set up its format. You know, life is a box of chocolates. It is the same as the movie Forrest Gump. So if we go deep into that tweet, it has everything that we have asked them. Okay, it has to interact with people who are not tech savvy, who could be moms of teenage children, interested in selling stuff at Amazon, a tweet who is humorous yet optimistic, reading in the style of Justin Bieber, and this analogy. So if we read life's like a box of chocolate, hashtag Gen X mom, and Amazon seller is the sweet surprise you didn't know you needed. No tech skills, no worries. Turn your treasures into cash, start today, and etc. So we could have as big as we want. Okay? One thing also is the emotions. You just state the emotions you want the content to evoke. So what I did was, okay, thinking about moms who used to like Justin Bieber, who are moms of teenage boys and girls, who wants to sell something at Amazon and has this analogy. Well, nostalgia could be this emotion. So if we go directly to the tweet, it says, Gen X moms, life's like a box of chocolates. An Amazon seller is like finding that fave 90s candy. No textiles, all good. Turn all treasures into cash. Just like mixtapes turn to playlists. Right now we use Spotify or an application that is similar. But I really remember back in the 90s, which I was in my mid-20s, which we have a lot of mixtapes. We have these CDs or DVDs or tapes, you know, and we have a lot of those mixtapes. So ChatGPT, what it did was to evoke an emotion in me. When I read this and I read mixtapes, it provoked an emotion related to nostalgia. So you could work with that. Okay. Now, since emotion is the latest one, the last thing that I want to tell you regarding this example is things to avoid. List any topics, words, or ideas you want to exclude from the content. And what I did was to pack everything because it was too long and maybe you couldn't read it well, so I decided to put it up. And the last instruction that I gave ChatGPT was the words that you could not use are related to money. You have seen that we have seen emojis related to money and some words related to money. So in this case, ChatGPT took away those words in this case, but you could go with topics, words, or ideas, something you don't want to. And it says, Gen X moms, life's like a box of chocolates. An Amazon seller is a retro surprise you've been craving. No textiles, no problem. Declutter and share your fave blast from the past. Start today, a link, and a hashtag. As you could see from the previous one, it took away, just like mixtapes turned into playlists, and took away the word cash and the emoji as well. But what you could do is, if you find that you don't want something related, a word related to money, but you like the emoji, copy that. What you could do, as I mentioned before, is that you could copy that and add it directly into the prompt. So you could have a prompt that will work for you, and that ChatGPT will provide you an answer. Okay? Now, the following examples won't be from this one. Okay? We'll try a new one, because it will be a lot of information and it will be packed, and it is related to a limitation that we're going to talk about. It is also optional, the format. You could specify the desired format for the response, such as a list, a paragraph, bullet points, or a step-by-step guide. In this case, since I'm from Mexico, I asked ChatGPT, I want you to act as an expert conservator of the Mexican cultural heritage. Give me the 5 most ancient monuments and list them, please. This and list them is something related to format, because I say, rather than give me a lot of information, I want you to list. So ChatGPT created 5 of them. Okay, and here what you could do regarding a step-by-step guide, you could ask ChatGPT, okay, ChatGPT, I want you to think as Leonardo da Vinci. You know, I want you to act as Leonardo da Vinci. And I want you to give me a step-by-step guide of how I, which I'm a basic level of drawing and painting, to paint the Mona Lisa. And ChatGPT is going to give you that. It's going to provide you the instructions to do it. So you do work in this format, okay? Also, it is length, one optional stuff, instruction within the prompt structure. As I mentioned before, on your left, excuse me, it is the previous tweet, the previous prompt instruction that I gave to ChatGPT. Now, on your right, you can see a length. And if you can see on your left, it says about Teotihuacan. It is like 4 or 5 different lines regarding Teotihuacan. But what you could say it is the minimum description must be at a 50 characters maximum. So what it will do is summarize it and provide a maximum of characters. So in this case, it says, okay, Teotihuacan, Pyramid of the Sun and Moon, UNESCO. Okay, and we could go to Cholula, largest pyramid by volume, Puebla, which is in the state of Puebla. So in this case, ChatGPT added all this information and summarized it to fit into max 50 characters. And with that, it's something really good. And with this, you could have different optional instruction within ChatGPT. One of them are examples. You could say, you could grab an example from a previous answer that you gave, or from something that you have on another website, and provide an example. Okay? You could have sources. Okay? And you could ask ChatGPT to provide those sources. Maybe it is a phrase from a book or a movie. You could say, okay, give me where this phrase comes from. What are the sources? And maybe ChatGPT will say, okay, like life is a box of chocolates, will say the source of this analogy comes from the Forrest Gump movie. Okay? And finally, our counter arguments, which is really it is something really good to have. It is to request a discussion of counter arguments or opposing viewpoints to provide a balanced perspective. In this case, you could ask ChatGPT to counter argument with you, and rather than being a one-way path, it could be both ways. You know, you say something to ChatGPT, you tell ChatGPT, please provide a counter argument, and with that, you could have, rather than ChatGPT answering your question, ChatGPT would say, I do not concur with this because of yada yada yada, and with that, you could have a discussion, which is really, really valuable for ChatGPT. Okay, now this ends the prompt structure. We're going to move, and we're going to move with the limitations, because yes, ChatGPT has limitations, and I summarize it in 3. The first one is try to have your prompts concise, and I read. Ensure that your prompts aren't too long, as this may lead to incomplete or truncated answers due to token limits in ChatGPT. In the previous examples that I gave you regarding the tweet of Amazon, I had a limitation, okay? So that's why I changed. So there are certain things that are optional and the ones that could be mandatory. You decide which ones could be mandatory and which ones could be optional, but in the end, maybe if you follow my methodology, in which we're going to talk about this methodology with real world cases, real world examples from further videos, and you're going to see how it's going to work. But in the end, if you could do your prompts to be concise, you're going to rock it. You're going to be a crack out of this. One thing that it is important, it is like the following example. Back in the first days of March, Claudia, she is my partner in life. She told me that she wanted to have Cuban salsa dance lessons with me, and I said okay. But at that time, I didn't know what to do. I was, when the music started, I was so stiff. I didn't know if I had to move right or left or what to do. And right now, which we are in the middle of April, I know what to do. I know how to dance. Not as a professional guy teacher would do, as our teacher does, but I enjoy it. Why am I saying this example? Because you have to practice, practice, and practice with every ChatGPT that you do, and you will get better, and you will be concise, and you will enjoy it, and you will have better prompts and much better answer from ChatGPT. Okay. Another limitation is the token limit. Okay, ChatGPT has a maximum token limit of 4,096 tokens. A token, it's probably kind of 4 characters of text. 4 text. Excuse me, I was redundant with this. So 100 tokens is equivalent to 75 words. In the following slide, I'm going to talk more about this. I'm going to go deep. And one also limitation is to use explicit instructions. You can also ask the model, in this case ChatGPT, to think step by step or debate pros and cons before providing an answer. This can lead to more thoughtful and well-reasoned answers, which is something related to the counter arguments that I mentioned in the previous slide. Okay? Now, if we go to tokens, this example will help you. As I mentioned before, ChatGPT has a maximum token limit of 4,096 tokens. Okay, how much is a token? So I took this from the excuse me. I took this from the OpenAI.com website. Okay, I will add this in the comments, in the description. Excuse me. What I did was to use ChatGPT is an AI language model, period. Okay? What it does, ChatGPT, it says, okay, this phrase, it takes me 9 tokens, which is 32 tokens. So we're going to analyze this. As you can see in the image below, ChatGPT shows us how many tokens are in this phrase, and it separates by color which token it is in the phrase. So chat, it is 1, G is second one, third is PT, space and is, the word is the fourth one. The fifth one, it is space and the word and. The sixth one, it is the space and the AI. The seventh, it is space and language as a word. The eighth is the space and the model as a word. And the final is the period, a 9. And it is 32 characters. And you can see it this way. ChatGPT is 7 plus 2 of is plus 2 of and is 11 plus 2 of AI is 13 plus 8 of language is 21 plus model is 5, so it's 26 plus the period is 27. We have 5 remaining. So the spaces between before, previous to is and AI language model, which are 5, it is the 32 characters. So don't paste a lot of information, because you may run out of the number of maximum tokens that you have, okay, which in this case is 4,096 tokens, which it could be if you consume the API, if you know about it, how to consume it, or use it directly in the ChatGPT. Okay? And finally, what are iterations? I mentioned the first, and when providing the context, that we could have three different options. One of them is iterations, and it is something easy. Iterations is iterating and refining your prompts based on the output you receive. You can use the output from one prompt as an input for another one, or rephrase your instructions to help ChatGPT understand your requirements better. Iterations is the process of repeating or refining an action to achieve a desired result. So when you ask ChatGPT with a prompt and you're not feeling satisfied with the answer, don't close over there. Don't stop over there. Modify the iteration, the prompt to have another iteration, or create a new one. It's up to you. But remember that if you're using the free ChatGPT version, you have up to 3 different versions of the iteration of the prompt. Excuse me. And what I suggest is, excuse me, that was my alarm. And what I suggest from you is, as I mentioned before, to have. Let me go to the previous slide so you can fully understand better. Okay, here. Okay, so an iteration would be at your right. Tell me what is needed in which Gen X will interact with. Another iteration will be to mention the target audience. Another iteration to be the tone. And from there you can have as many. And with that, remember that ChatGPT will remember what you told in that specific timeline. Okay? So let me go to the end. This one over here. Thank you very much. What we're going to do in further videos, we're going to explore real world cases. Okay? So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Tell me in the comments if you want me to explore a real world scenario that you have, a real world case, and I'll be glad to do it. Thank you. Bye bye.